Everyone, welcome to our webinar today. My name is Danny Torbett. I'm the Analyst Relations Manager for Decisions. I'm the guy that talks to Gartner and Forrester and tries to get them to say good things about us. And I brought one of our smartest guys with us today, Frank Mummer, one of our pre-sales engineers. And today we're here to talk about conquering complexity with adaptive case management. So great to be with you. But before we get started, got a couple of plugs that I wanted to make. Decisions holds these amazing 3-day deep dive training events. We hold them all over the world. We just had a team come back from Stockholm. And I think our next one coming up July 23rd through the 25th out in Denver. Always a great one, centrally located if you're in the US. And then October 8th through the 10th in Singapore. So be sure to hit us up at decisions.com/events to attend one of these great sessions. We bring together our prospects, our customers, our developers and architects and founders and throw them all into a cool place and take some training in the platform. We have a track for beginners in the platform as well as a master's class. We talk about unique use cases that people are working on. Great opportunity for you to learn more about us. While you're there at decisions.com/events, make sure you go ahead and register for the next webinars that we have coming up. Later this month, our partner Datamatics is going to show us the powerful synergy between robotics process automation and using our business rules engine to reduce manual processes, resources, and risks for insurers. Together, these technologies pave the way to streamline operations for applications, eligibility determinations, claims processing, and a lot more. And then on June 26th, to learn to streamline bulk PDF form filling with Expressibility's document filler and explore the decision marketplace for other productivity apps developed by partners like Expressibility, community members, and the Decisions team. So sign up for all those upcoming events at decisions.com/events. That be sure to check out the marketplace. We have a lot of great pre-built out-of-the-box applications that you can take and adapt for your business right now. So I'm glad that a couple of people have checked out the chat. Be sure to use it. We've got a bunch of people on from Decisions as well here to answer your questions. So of course, we're going to have Q&A at the end, but you don't have to wait. We'd love to answer those questions for you in real time. So here's what the agenda looks like for today. I'm going to blab on a little bit about how great Decisions is. I'll try to keep it brief. And then we're going to dive in today's topic, which is case management. We'll go through some use cases. Frank will show us how he has adapted case management in the Decisions platform. And then we'll take some questions at the end. So thanks so much for joining us, everybody. My name is Danny. Like I said, I'm the Analyst Relations Manager. Let me tell you a little bit about Decisions. Decisions is a no-code software application development platform. And these are the 5 pillars of automation that platform. These allow you to build any enterprise application without writing a single line of code. So the first one is the rules engine. It's a system that allows users to define, manage, and execute business rules. It enables businesses to keep the logic consistent and centralized. An integration layer. We weave connection between all of your apps and systems, breaking down silos and ensuring the data flows smoothly, accurately, and in real time. It also comes with a workflow manager that facilitates the creation, management, and execution of business workflows, allowing tasks to move from one step to another based on a predefined criteria. Process mining. That gives you the ability to examine business processes based on event logs and helps in discovering process patterns, identifying bottlenecks, and suggesting improvements. And then finally, it comes with an interface designer that offers an intuitive and efficient experience to your customers and users without having to write any code. So these are the 3 areas of automation where Decisions really shines. The first is decisioning or business rules. Our rules engine gives you that place to centralize business logic and then expose that logic to business users to edit and maintain using graphical design tools, no code. It gets the logic out of stored procedures, web pages, custom code, and puts it in a place where you can easily change it and maintain it without diving into the code. It's enterprise class. It runs millions of transactions a day across thousands of rules in areas like medical claims processing, insurance underwriting, and mortgage processing. The next use case is what we call extend and expand. It's really common when we work with a customer that already has a lot of out of the box, projects that need to be part of their automation solution. So it could be a CRM system or an ERP system or databases or other products that are built to handle just a part of the process. Decisions is designed to integrate with these existing out of the box solutions and automate the special processes that these systems don't do well. Things like human in the loop approval processes, for instance. To do this, we have lots of different ways to integrate with your system landscape. We have several out of the box integrations. Just see some of them listed here. I think we have over 70 right now. But more importantly, we can connect to anything with an open API. And most modern systems have that. So if you have a specific system that you're wondering around, please just pop it into chat and we can get you an answer right away on that. Taking the previous example just a little bit further, we often act as an orchestration layer between different applications. So if you have several applications that you view users and data in, you can use decisions as kind of a middleware to bring data in from one application, trigger an activity for a user in another application, or populate an outcome in yet another. Most common use case is really to act as an orchestration layer between various software applications or services, and then engage end users in workflow that cross those application boundaries. Thanks for listening to the salesy part. It's the worst part of every webinar, and I appreciate your attention. If you want to learn more about the platform outside of today's demonstration, please just hit us up at sales@decisions.com. Spend some time with one of our great sales and engineers like Frank and see how Decisions might be able to help you solve some of the problems that you're facing in your business. Now we're on to the good stuff. Today we're here with Frank Mummer, one of our crack pre-sales engineers. Frank, say hi.
Hello.
Man, it's great to see you again, my friend. I always enjoy doing these with you. So today we're going to be talking about case management for navigating complex processes. And I'm gonna read here because I think this is important, and I'm going to read it verbatim, but then I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Case management handles intricate processes spanning multiple stages, durations, and interactions, both human and automated. Unlike linear workflows, they're dynamic, facilitating movement in various directions to accommodate new information or changing circumstances. Decisions provides crucial agility in handling fluctuating scenarios, such as medical diagnostics that adjust to changing conditions or test outcomes, financial services like loan applications with multifaceted processes, and insurance claims that involve diverse iterative reviews and adjustments. Case management ensures that each case is created uniquely, offering a tailored response that can effectively handle the intricacies and unpredictability inherent in such processes. And there's a great screenshot of version 9 of Decisions, kind of a look at, what are we looking at on the laptop screen there?
That would be the actual states of the case and the different flows that could be kicked off during those states.
Right. So when I think about case management, one of the most important things that I think about is that stateful process, right? In order to manage a case management process, right, we need to know where each work item is in those flows. And I think like managing that is like one of the critical pieces, don't you think?
Definitely.
Right. Let's take a look at some of the different use cases that demonstrate case management, right? So everything from insurance claims processing to clinical trials to compliance management, but really, if you think about it, any transaction that fits that previous definition, right, where it's not a linear process, but might involve several iterations in the management of that work product. And that's, I think, one of the really important things to capture. What do you think about this slide, Frank?
I think it's a great way to get people's train of thought going about the different ways that they may be able to leverage something like case management or case entities processing through their systems to get some good results, maybe solve some problems that they may have.
I like it. Let's take a look at this stuff. Why
Yeah,
don't you
I think I'll.
tell us about the happy path? That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and take over here. Hi, everybody. For those joining late or who may have missed introductions, my name is Frank Mummert, and I'm a pre-sales engineer at Decision here at Decisions. Talking about case management today, we're going to dive into one example of a project that uses our case entity data structure. It will be a loan origination process where somebody looking to take out a personal loan can kick off the process on a website, maybe fill out some forms, and then there's a little bit of a back and forth as the loan officers get the information they need from the borrower to get the application approved. To give you a high level simplified view of the process, I'm going to walk you through a few of these slides here. So first up, as we've seen, this is our happy path. And actually, before we get into this, know that I may use the terms case entity and loan application interchangeably here. They're both the same thing for the purposes of our example. The loan application submitted by the borrower in our case, it's going to be a case entity in our logic. What I want you to be on the lookout for as we go through this is the idea of two different ways of handling our workflow processes, sort of on a philosophical level. First up, and what you're seeing here is a process-driven model. In that style of system, we know what steps need to be done to reach the end, and we are going to drag our data through there, making changes to it along the way. The other style is the case management style, the topic of today's presentation, which is more focused on the data that we start with and what changes we would like to make to it over the course of the workflows. The distinction may seem arbitrary, but it's the foundational choice of how you're going to build out your logic. So if I can use maybe a bad metaphor here, consider two different ways of making a meal. One way is using your new knife set and your favorite cutting board and a blender, and you definitely want to use your air fryer. What are you making? It can be any number of things. It doesn't matter. As long as you get to use those cool tools and techniques to interact with the meal you're making, you're happy. This is the process-driven way of looking at it. I have these tools that I want to incorporate, and that's the primary consideration over what I actually intend to make. The data-driven method is more like being handed a bunch of potatoes. What would you like to do with it? You can French fry it. You can make mashed potatoes. You can bake it. Hey, the person who lives with you really wants to make it into a soup. Given a starting ingredient, you have a bunch of different ways you can go with it, and other people can throw in their ideas. This method is focused on the ingredient instead of the tools available, and it opens up a wide range of self-contained processes and the opportunity for collaboration with your team. Both systems end with a meal being made, but they have very different approaches. So, bad analogy concluded.
No, that was a great metaphor. I don't know what you're talking about. You smashed it.
Hey, we can make some mashed potatoes later. All right, back to the slides. Okay, here, like I said, we're getting more of a focus on the process just because that's how we tend to think of things by default. In our case, the loan application is submitted. A loan officer does a quick pre-screen to make sure it's legitimate. And then they ask for some supplemental documentation. In our case, we're keeping it simple. It's just going to be some identity verification stuff, a pay stub and a driver's license. The loan officer then double checks the documents, and if everything looks good, they kick it off to the underwriter to put together the loan paperwork, and everybody gets paid. Now, what happens if something goes wrong? Next slide, please. What if the loan officer finds something wrong with the supplied documents? Well, we haven't really considered this process failing at any point, so we need to reevaluate the process and make sure we're handling all possible contingencies, because right now, if something small but maybe correctable goes wrong, too bad. The process ends with the loan application being rejected, and that is not ideal for anyone. Next slide, please. So this is a more realistic path. We will include the ability for the loan officer to re-engage with the applicant and ask for clarification. Hey, the picture of your pay stub appears to be a receipt for potato au gratin. Can you try again? I'm on the potatoes. I haven't had lunch yet. The borrower re-uploads the file and the process goes on. But if we built it this way, do we need to account for how many times this interaction could happen? Next slide. That may become unmanageable. You may look back over your lending history and identify your edge case where the lending officer and the borrower went back and forth 7 times trying to sort out that documentation. Should we build the logic for that? What if someone in the future has an even harder time attaching the right image and they need 12 tries? There's got to be a better way. What if we just focus on what can happen to the loan application and focus less on the specific steps that we want to go through? Next slide. So instead of making a fixed path, we allow the data to go through whatever states make sense. And if it needs to loop through the logic at some point, so be it. What's not being shown here, but I'll show in the demo, is that at any point, any of these steps could go in a different direction. You could cancel the application. You could reject it. You could add comments or files to it regardless of what state it's in. And you could even potentially skip steps. Like, hey, the CEO's child is applying for a loan. Let's skip all the logic and go straight to the underwriter. Things like that. So keep this diagram in mind when we get into the demo. And remember that we can add as many loops and double backs as we want to. The process is not set in stone. Next slide.
Yeah, it's when I think about that, I think about every loan that I have ever applied for, and it has never gone down the happy path, not one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not one time. Why don't you show us actually what this looks like in decisions?
Absolutely.
You want to do that?
Let's do that. All right. For the first part of this, I'm going to show you what it looks like when our end users engage with this loan origination system. Also, caveats, addendums, advisories. This is a very simplified project. We're not handling a huge amount of data. We only have the one logic loop. And this process ends with the signing of the loan approval paperwork. So it doesn't go into like financial disbursement logic or anything like that. Otherwise, this demo would be 2-3 hours long. So for this process, I'm going to be pretending to be two different people. I'm going to be our prospective borrower, and the loan officer or agent who's going to be getting assignments to look over the paperwork. So this is our landing page. This is currently hosted on my local environment, but in a real production scenario, this would be a public-facing web page. As the borrower, I can click the button to kick off the process. So let's go ahead and do that. So when they click the button, they're going to be presented with a form. I have put logic in here to go ahead and fill out the data fields on the form, just because I don't want to spend all this time typing in front of you all. That's boring, and we want to get to the work here. So it is me and my information. That's not my real social security number. Don't bother trying to steal my identity. I'm just going to. There's a couple little quality of life features that are not related to the case management aspect of this, but I just kind of want to show off some additional things that decisions can pull off. So if you start typing in addresses, it will connect with Google's Maps to try to figure out what address you might be referring to. I'm just going to go put back our address. I haven't quite hooked up all the logic yet to populate out the other fields, but that's a work in progress for us here. This demo that I'm showing off is one that we use pretty frequently with our sales pipeline. And we're currently upgrading it for version 9, and we're trading out a lot of the original backbone data structure out of this for the case entity that we're going to be using here. So it seemed like a great project to show off for y'all, because it's a little bit still in flight, but like any good agile project, it should be completable from end to end. And I think we have that here. A couple little quality of life things maybe need some tweaking, but we'll get there.
So you can build really dynamic forms in the platform. And that's one of the things that our users really love, is building, forms that are dynamic without writing any code.
Absolutely. Moving on. So the next thing it's going to ask me about is some employment information. I put in some stuff about decisions in here, and we're going to go ahead and advance further. So this is the actual page where I'm going to ask for my loan. It dynamically created some items that I have to agree to. So I'll go ahead and check that box, which makes that next button available. The amount of money I'm going to ask for, let's go ahead and ask for like $3,000. And what am I going to do with that? I'm going to buy myself something special. Yes, and
you deserve it.
I do. I'm fantastic. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit next, and it's going to do some initial logic here, but it's going to tell us, hey, we were not automatically rejected. Our loan application's been successfully submitted. So, I meant to navigate to the dashboard. Let's go ahead and actually move over to the borrower dashboard. So you can see we have the one item in here, and it's $3,000. Yeah, that's probably a good average. Nothing is currently pending my action. There's a review in progress that's going to be happening. If I right click on this, you'll see that I only have the option to cancel the application at this point. So we're going to go ahead and now pretend to be the lending agent or the loan officer. So I'm going to move over to that one, and you'll see that I have this lovely little item right down here. There are a bunch of different ways that I could potentially get the assignment. I could receive an email about it. I could get a pop-up on my portal, things like that. I'm just going to come right here into this report, and I'm going to grab this and I'm going to right click on it. Now, you remember that the borrower only had the option to cancel. I'm going to have many more options than that, uh, given that I have greater access to manipulating the cases that are moving through the system here. So I could potentially add a comment, I could attach a file, I could change the state. Like I said, if we want to just skip to the end, I can totally do that. Just to kind of show off what we can do here, I'm going to go ahead and add a comment. And there are no previous comments, so the last comment field's not going to get added, but I'm just going to say something like, hey, looks good. And that's going to get added to this state and the application process as it's going through. I'll show you at the end where that got added, but just remember to be on the lookout for that note in the future here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to pre-screen this application and check it out. Actually, you know what? Hey, that comment was the last comment added. We're going to go ahead and pre-populate that field. Fantastic. It did some back-end calculations with the initial processing of the loan package. It hit some credit reporting sites. It hit some internal logic to determine what kind of loan package should be offered to this person. So it said, hey, that they're asking for so much amount of money. We're going to set them up at an interest rate of 6.5. With a 6-month term loan, they're going to be paying this every month, and the grand total of what they're paying is going to be this. And I'm going to look at that, and I'm going to go, yeah, that looks great. I could potentially reject it, but that's not any fun. We're going to keep moving forward here. All right, so now let's get kicked back over to our loan applicant document upload. So we're on to the next part of this process here, and this is where we're going to start getting a little tricky. So I can still also cancel the application if I want to, but I'm going to go ahead and upload the supporting documents. What documents do I need to upload? Let's go ahead and hit. So let's see. They want a pay stub. I can do a pay stub. Sure. I'm gonna grab the random pay stub file off of the internet. It looks good. And hey, I wonder what this is here. We have attached to this this document, or I'm sorry, this form, some Google Vision AI logic. And what it's going to do is it's going to look at the image that got uploaded, and it's going to say, does this kind of adhere to what the internet understands a pay stub to look like? And yeah, apparently it does. So we're going to go ahead and use that there. And for the driver's license,
don't use your driver's license, Frank.
No, you know what? I'm going to use the one that we use pretty commonly here in the sales engineering team, which is from the movie Superbad, the McLovin driver's license. But I have gone in and I have blurred it up so that we have a reason to kick this process back in the future. So there will be a sharper one uploaded momentarily. But we're going to say that this is the one we grabbed. Our hands were really shaky when we took a picture of it, maybe too much coffee. We'll move on to the next part of this, and we'll go ahead and submit. And let's go look at where we are with the loan officer. Hey, okay. So we got this here. Let's check it out. What's my thing I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and review the documents. All right. What we got? We got pay stub. Fantastic. Yeah, that looks great. And driver's license _bad. No, that's not going to work. I can't use that. So I would ask them to please upload a new pic. And I'm going to request that clarification. Now we're looping back. We're going to go back, and the loan applicant is going to seek requested clarification. Sure, I can do that. They're being presented with the same form now, and they're going to, you know what? Let me just real quick. What did they mean that I need to? Oh yeah, it's a bad pic. Okay, we're going to upload documents. So let's go ahead and let's get that pay stub going again. We like the pay stub, and let's go ahead and this time I'm going to upload driver's license. Good. This one is not blurry. Now, interestingly, little artifact here. It's still rejecting this. And this is because, as far as I can tell, the Google Vision AI knows that this is a fake driver's license. It has the wealth of the internet to consult. So
it does. It's seen Superbad. Yeah, yes. The AI has seen Superbad.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's a 15-year-old movie. It's okay. All right, let's move on.
Now, Frank, quick question.
In there. Yeah, sir.
Quick question. For the purposes of this demonstration, this is a manual review of those documents, but based off of the returns from Google Vision AI, that could be automated as well.
Totally. If
it returned, hey, this image is bad, this is not a pay stub, this is not a driver's license, you could build a workflow to do what you just showed us.
Absolutely. And a more robust version of this that is 100% would probably happen. If one or both of the items came back as questionable, it would probably kick off a
Mhm.
manual review process. But if they both came back good, you could totally write the logic of let's just advance them on down the path. Maybe the underwriter will check it out and make sure that everything looks good. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and submit, and we're gonna go back over to my loan officer. All right, we've looped around. We're doing this again. We're gonna review the documents here, and yeah, okay, that looks fine. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this going. So we're gonna hit approve. I could add comments here, and they would show up on the audit history. We're just gonna keep it real simple, real fun today. So we're gonna just approve and move on. All right. So, what happened? Who has the assignment now? Okay. So the loan is saying it's time for the dashboard here is saying it's time for the underwriter review. And the review in progress. Nothing's pending my action here. Okay. So why isn't this showing up for the loan officer? That's because there's an additional third kind of user that we need to bring up here, which would be an underwriter. They have access to their own dashboard. I want to just show you that you can totally partition off these different dashboards based on roles, even if it's different employees at the same company. Now, to keep this moving along quickly here, I'm not going to log in as that. I'm going to go and just log in as an administrator. I have the ability to do that through something called account impersonation. So I have set it up so that this particular lending officer can just go ahead and switch over to being an admin, no problem. So you'd see up here, hey, admin. So this is the project. This is actually the full project in the project hub. I'm going to click on this. And this is the main landing page for the project. Like I said, it is still in development. So if I have a project that's in development and it's still got a green health level, I think that's pretty good. What this is measuring, just to go on a slight tangent about a decisions feature that's new to version 9, not necessarily related to case management here. What this feature does is it goes through the whole project, and it's just basically double checking to make sure that whoever's developing the project is adhering to what we've identified as some best practices. So are you changing flow step names from their defaults? Are you adding descriptions to your different entities? Are you adding unit tests? Are you adding error handling? All the things that tend to get kind of glossed over during the development process when you get really excited about pushing the project forward. We need to make sure that you're effectively going in and commenting your code,
Mhm.
doing the good work that's going to help maintain sustainability in the future. So right now I'm sitting at an 81. That means I probably have some things out there that I need to go clean up. But right now it's looking pretty good. We're going to just go ahead and advance here. Those folders that were available as dashboards to the different people, they get stored here in this lovely little public folder, nested in this other public folder. And you may recognize this as the landing page that our borrower saw. This is where the borrower's dashboard is, and the loan writers and loan officer rather, but neither of them had access to this underwriter dashboard. And that's what I'm going to go and show off now. What you're seeing, I know there was a comment earlier about maybe somebody had asked about audit trails and things like that. With these
Yeah.
with these stateful data types, we maintain a folder activity panel here that shows it going through the different states, and we can set this up to record whatever data we wanted to. If we want the different people who were involved in the processes, the different files that got uploaded, whatever we want, we can maintain that here in this folder activity panel. You can see as it advances through the different states. We're currently in the underwriter review.
Mhm.
Remember earlier when I added that comment, hey, looks good. There it is right there. It totally tracks people interfacing with it, even if it's outside of that primary pipeline of advancing this through the different states. We made a comment that could have been added at any point in this process, and it just gets documented at the state that it happened in. So that was back during the loan officer's pre-review. Said looks good. It got attached to the project. So we are now going to perform the underwriter review. And we're getting toward the end here of the front end part of this project. So if you're interested in just the back end, just hold on a little bit longer. We're almost there. Uh, so I am going to go ahead and I'm going to review this loan offer. So Decisions put together a PDF summarizing the loan offer. Or, I'm sorry, not summarizing, but actually putting together the loan offer for the lender, the borrower. It's $3,000 that has their address. It custom filled it out. Everything looks pretty good here. So we're going to just go ahead and kick this off, and we're going to approve. We're going to head back to the loan applicant's dashboard. And we see now that the state is pending signature. Now, this is actually going to come in through my email since it's being handled through DocuSign. We have a DocuSign module here in Decisions, and we're currently using it to fire off an email to me. So here it is. This is our sales engineering DocuSign account. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to check this out. You'll notice that I have checked the for demonstration purposes only, so we're not having to pay for anything here. We'll go ahead and get in, and I agree to sign this. Sure. Hopefully, a lot of people have used DocuSign and they're familiar with this process. This is the loan agreement for me. Yeah, I'll go ahead and sign that. Looks great. I totally read all of that. I'll go ahead and drag and drop my name there, and we'll finish.
I signed what?
Exactly. Who knows what I just agreed to? Now DocuSign is going to ask me, "Hey, I noticed you're using the demo version. Would you like to upgrade to a full paid version?" Not today, DocuSign. I love you very much, but not right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to head back to the loan applicant dashboard, and it's still going to say pending signature. What's happening is rather than ping DocuSign over and over again, like on 1 second intervals, looking to see if that thing got signed. We have it set up, I think, currently for this testing, we have it set up to check on a 45-second interval. So at some point during the next couple of seconds, it's going to go ping the DocuSign database and come back and tell us that it got signed. Fantastic. So that is basically the front end of this process. Where it would go from here is it would probably get kicked over to some sort of accounts payable or some other department for disbursement. What I would like to do now is maybe give a little bit of a peek under the dashboard here and see what the logic is that's happening here that allowed this to take place. So I'll go ahead and I'll minimize some of that there. The first flow I want to show you all is what a typical flow looks like in Decisions. This is going to be the one that actually kicked off this process when they started filling out those initial forms. This is the logic that happened. So this is our loan request submission flow. You notice that we have the 3 forms that I got shown to our person. In between the second and third, it was where those terms and conditions were generated that I had to acknowledge with that little checkbox. And then if it goes through, we do have a thing that makes a random submission date for it so that when we batch make these things, it populates out the loan data of the dashboards in a little bit more of an interesting manner. But this is where our loan is actually created. And we make some adjustments to it along the way. But at this point, things stop really happening in these upper level flows. And we're actually going to go into the case entity itself, look at the configuration folder for it, and see how Decisions actually handles this. So let's go ahead and hop into this. We saw this, a similar image back during the slides where there was a little canted laptop and it showed off the different flow states. I'm sorry, the different entity states and the different flows that were under them. This is what it looks like for our particular process. So at the top of most of these, should bump that one up there. Remember to do that. All right. At the top of these are the actions that advance this application to the next step. Then attached additionally to these are the actions that can happen to that case that are agnostic as to what state they're in. So add comment can happen at any point. It doesn't matter. And we demonstrated that early on, and it got added to whatever state that case was currently in. As we move on down here, we go through, pending signature, and then the different ways that this can potentially end is either being signed, rejected, or canceled. Additional logic would happen here in the note by accounts payable or whatever disbursement system you have, but there are unique steps for rejected and canceled that allow you to reactivate the application that are not on the other states. And you can identify, or you can indicate which states you'd like these to happen in. If you expand the properties out, you can just identify what states that this particular flow logic can happen in, and it will apply it to all of them. If you have something that you want to happen in any state, like add comment, that's even easier. You just leave it blank and it applies it to all states. So let's see. Let me show you one of our state-specific flows. So like the pre-screen application here. When the loan officer received that application on their dashboard, they right-clicked it and they had the option to pre-screen the application. Here's what that logic looks like. So they get presented with the form that has all of the application information on it. I have to do a little bit of data conversion prior to that to remove some of the validation issues that come up on the form. There's some fields that are a string, but I was passing in a decimal, and it will totally work with that. But it throws up a little warning that says, "Hey, just double check that this is working correctly."
Mhm.
Just to clear that out, I went ahead and I converted the data before it goes in. This is what our form designer looks like. We have identified all these labels as variables that we can populate with the loan application data at runtime. And if you add comments and then you hit the send for document upload, it gets sent off. And yeah, these you saw what this form looked like when it was loaded with data. Not a big deal. We have two options coming out of that form. We can either continue on down the application process, or we can reject it. And we set the state to rejected. We add why it was rejected to the case entity's data values, so that if
Mhm.
anybody comes back and reviews it, that information is there. But yeah, this just passes it on to the next state, which is applicant document upload, where the borrower got the assignment to upload some documents.
Right.
For the agnostic ones, the ones that can happen at any state, there's not much difference. Uh, what's really fun with these case entities is that the input data is already available to you when you go in and you need to map something. So let's say if I had to upload file name, upload the file contents, the I won't say this. The loan application, it's hovering around the background. I don't even have to pass it in as an input. It just automatically comes in with the rest of the flow kicking off. So that's a fantastic way to speed up the development process here. And I think there was a third thing I wanted to show you. Oh, you remember that the user didn't have as many right click actions as the loan officer or the administrator. We can set that up by declaring action visibility rules. And what I had said is, hey, if you're in the user group of loan applicant and the action name has any of these words in it, don't show it to that applicant or don't show it to that user. So all of the ones that could be used by the loan officer or the administrator or the underwriter, all of those are available to those users, but it's blocked out from the borrower's access. I think that's going to be about it. I do want to call out though the logic that happened with our clarification system here. So when I was the loan officer and I was first checking out those loan documents, I
Mhm.
I was like, you know what, that first driver's license isn't great. So I sent it down the request for clarification path, which instead of going to
Mhm.
the underwriter review, it went to requested clarification, which is this state right here, and the borrower got this action, and it kicked it back to said state loan officer document review. We allowed it to loop back. Now, all we had to do was just throw this one extra state in here,
Mhm.
set state step, and it handled it for us, no problem. And that's basically it. This is how you set up a case entity and decisions. There's a lot of little extra little fun tidbits and logic that you can throw in there. And you can set it up pretty easily to appear differently to different people based on how they're going to be interacting with it. So I have a little bit extra that I'm going to talk about in my conclusion here. Um, but is there anything that I need to discuss before I get off of this?
Actually, Gavin had a question about being able to, if you recall, when we were in the underwriter part of the portal or the loan officer part of the portal, being able to right click to take actions on those particular work items. Could those be, could you surface that same functionality through an icon or a button representation? I would say, yeah, right. Through using dynamic forms and our dashboards through our interface designer, you could build it to really look and function the way that you want to, and that's I think one of the really powerful parts of the platform. What do you think, Frank?
So you can totally set up button icons and interfaces within the line item on that report. Just make it one of the
Mhm.
cells on the report, and it can fire off a flow as you click on it. As for having it pop up on that menu when you right click on it,
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever actually done that, but I don't see why you couldn't do that with something like CSS. Just
Yeah.
like, hey, if this pops up, swap it out and replace it with this thing.
Yeah, we
And
could definitely. I'd
yeah,
love to, Gavin or Darwin, excuse me. I didn't mean to mess up your name there. We'd love to learn more about what you're thinking about. If you'd love to connect with us. Let us know. We'd love to make that happen.
And totally. If there's a feature you'd like to see in decisions that isn't here, definitely work with us. And the project or the product is constantly in development. We're always adding new features to it. Like I said, this is version 9. It came out 2-3 weeks ago. We're not done making new versions. So definitely, if you see a feature you think would be really cool to add, definitely let us know.
Cool.
So with that, I think I'm gonna
go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna kind of pivot over to my conclusion here. That's it for what we're looking at today. We had a brief philosophical discussion about the difference between different design schemas. Remember that case entities are more data centric, while other state mindful data structures are better used in process centric builds, so like flow execution extensions, things like that. I walked you through the alone origination sequence where we could loop back to an earlier state and easily and repeatedly do that if we needed to. I also showed you behind the curtain a little bit to see how the case entity states are actually set up, including those actions that are meant just for that state and the actions that could happen at any state. And I want to also briefly mention, this came up a little bit before, but I want to kind of put my pitch in for it now. We do offer a companion feature for these stateful data structures. If your current or future processes use data structures like the case entity or like the flow execution extension, anything that has a folder attached to it that tracks what state it's in and what work is being done, we have an analytical tool that you can sign up for called process mining. It will go over all of your cases and come up with what paths they took through your process and how long they spent at each step to help you identify hurdles or bottlenecks that could be costing you time or resources. Every time we've had a client use it with their live data, they have been just absolutely dumbstruck at how many times cases go weird directions or they stall out at weird times. That service or / product, I believe, can be sought out on its own before you even decide if you want us to come in and help you build solutions for you. You just reach out to our sales team and they will set you up with our process mining experts. So that's it for me. Thank you for your time and attention. I will turn it back over to Danny.
That's a great point, Frank. Process mining is a really powerful way to understand processes end to end, identify bottlenecks, be able to associate values like standard operating procedures, labor rates, things like that, to be able to figure out how much inefficiency is costing your business and how much could be gained in dollars by streamlining those processes. Great plug at the end. Mark Klein will be so happy. And we were just recognized in the Everest Group Process Mining Peak Matrix study as a major contender just about a month ago. So if you'd like to hear more about that, reach out to us at sales@decisions.com if you'd like to learn more about case management and how using a stateful process with a case entity and a full audit trail, giving you a chain of custody and tools to be able to iterate that process over time makes sense for you. We'd love to learn more about your business. And be sure to sign up for our next webinar or come and see us at Submerse in Denver in July or in Singapore in October, I believe. Check us out at decisions.com/events. Thanks, everyone, so much for your participation today. It's been great chatting with you. Thanks so much, Frank. Great job, buddy.
Yeah, have a good one, everybody.
Play us out, Chase. Thanks so much, everyone.